All right, guys. This is Devin Lewis. As I told you guys, Devin was with us for a long time.
Sit down.
Yeah, you can sit down. You can sit down. I like that because it seems like you're gonna be here for a while. So.
15 minutes, man. I'm up.
All right. So just go ahead. I introduced you already. If you can just talk a little bit about your experience here, what you got out of this situation, where you are now, what you have planned for the future, and any advice you can give them. These guys are just starting out. Also, just give them any advice while they're taking classes, what they should or should not do, what they should focus on, and so on and so forth. You've done. You're a great motivator. You've done this for us before, so
Thanks.
let's And guys, please ask a bunch of questions when he's done, so that we can all make sure that we get as much information as we possibly can.
So, once again, my name is Devin. I actually started with this school about maybe 3 years ago, and I was working at Verizon. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I didn't mind the job. I just didn't like the stuff that came with it. So, and it was dead end. I tried to become an engineer there. I mean, they wouldn't. You know how it is. So, I mean, I'm not gonna go too much into talking bad about them. It just wasn't working for me. And so I had already went to the University of Maryland, taking certification classes there. I actually got certified by UMUC to do computer networking. Took Cisco A+, NAT+, network infrastructure, all kinds of Microsoft server classes. And so I have a buddy who's into, he's a security engineer. So I talked to him and I said, look, man, I'm desperate. I'm trying to get out. He said, well, send me your resume, and I'll fish it around. I got some people, we'll talk. So I sent it to him about maybe 2 weeks later. He called me and said, there's nothing I can do for you. Nobody can do anything for you. So I said, why? He said, because this, what you have on record doesn't mean anything. You got to get some certifications. So, I had been hearing that certifications were the way to go. I wasn't sure. So one of my coworkers introduced me to Albert. Talked to him, called him that one day. I always tell people, like, the first time we talked, it was like an hour, and we talked like we knew each other for years. Good guy. He taught me, told me about everything, my track, what I should do. So I signed up A+. It was about probably 22 of us, I think, 20 to 22 of us in that class, I think. And we got in, and right off the bat, we started getting our hands dirty, doing learning the operating systems, how to program, how to put everything together, the computers, and I started, I already liked it. I already knew that that's what I wanted to get into the IT field, and study real hard. So, kept going, just kept being motivated, just kept studying, just reading on my own time, doing everything I could besides just taking a class. The information they gave me, I studied it. Went to NAT+, took that. And the one thing that I would always say was, don't take the class without taking a certification, which a lot of people do. A lot of people tend to think that if you take a class, put it on your resume, you're good. And that's not the case at all. You have to have knowledge, number one. Yes, you do. You have to be able to speak the language. When you go on these interviews, they don't just say, oh, you got, a certification, or you got this class. Okay, welcome aboard. You get the guys, the big wigs come in, they interview you, and that's the preliminary interview. Then you got the real guys. They come in and they say, okay, this is the job you're applying for. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. And they ask you to explain the things that you know. And they ask you questions. If you don't know, then you're wasting their time and yours. So I studied hard, learned, and kept on going to Cisco. And it was funny because as I went up, I saw guys fall off. And I say that to tell people that you got to be serious. This is something that you have to be interested in. You have to want to learn it. You have to want to know it. You have to kind of, when you're into it, I mean, yeah, and I'm pretty sure Howard and some other people have told you, 6 months, after 6 months or so studying, you could be on your way to a beautiful career, which you can, but it's 6 months of dedicating yourself. Like I dedicated myself, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that to tell you that it takes that, but this is the right place to be. I don't know. I can tell you that I get, emails every day from recruiters. My boss, he tells me, certifications he wants me to get and what he can do for me when I get them. And so, all I can say to you guys is just stay motivated. You're in the right field, but you have to want it. You have to, stay concentrating on what, your goal is and stick to the goal. Take the class, but do the certification test. Study it. No matter, like I remember when I took my Cisco, my first one, I was up to 2 in the morning studying the night before. But you gotta be dedicated to it. It's not something you could play around with. But once you get it, it's rewarding. I mean, I went from, I don't have to tell you, bro, but I went from working almost 7 days a week, 12 hours a day sometimes, being forced away from my family, them telling me when I was gonna work, when I was gonna get off, what I had to do, not giving me enough time to do it, not appreciating me for working hard, to now, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and my boss so far loves me, and he always looks out for me, and I look out for him, and I want to look out for him because he looks out, you know what I mean? So, and I did, I owe it all to studying and working hard at this. So, all I can say again is that you guys are in the right place. You're in the starting line, but it's not that long. I mean, you work at it, a couple of classes, you push forward, and believe it or not, out of nowhere you're there. So, I mean, I could just, if you guys didn't have any questions for me, but I can tell you, I didn't miss a beat when I left Verizon. Maybe the benefits a little bit, but I made that up on the back end. So I really didn't miss a beat. And I'm not gonna lie to you and say I thought I was. I thought that when I started out, I was gonna be like, bottom line. I wasn't, I had heard that you can make this amount of money, that amount of money, and I was like, well, I don't know if that's good, but I didn't miss a beat. So I just say work at, keep working, work harder than you're working now. I don't know how hard you're working. I'm just telling you, work harder. You know what I'm saying? And just dedicate yourself because it's very rewarding and it pays off in the end. So, I mean, if you guys have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Can you tell us about your current job and your role and what you do?
So I work at a school, but it's an IT school, something similar, but it's a little different than what we do now. What our does here is mostly for corporations, but I'm a network engineer. I work on pretty much everything network. Cisco routers, Cisco switches, Dell switches, Cisco firewalls, you name it. I mean, I have to program them. I have to rack them, stack them, servers. We have to put them together, set them up for the server guys. They come in and do their thing. We work with them hand in hand. I travel, like I'm actually in a couple of weeks, I'll be going to Canada. I've been to Tennessee, New York. I was supposed to go to Sweden, but I sent my coworker because it was right around Christmas. I didn't feel like going. But we have offices in like France, London, Tokyo. So, they send me out there for a week, all expenses paid, and I just do my work. However long it takes to do my work, and then after that, I'm free to do what I want. But it's not like it's just, I show up and it's a cake day. I mean, it's no different. With the IT field, the one thing about it is you have to be a dedicated student basically for the rest of your life. So that's why I say be dedicated to it. And when I say that, I don't mean you have to study 24/7 all the time, but what I'm saying is, technology changes all the time. So you have to always be up on what the changes are and how to, implement them and work with them. So, I love doing it, and I get motivated. Like I said, my boss, every time he introduces something new or we introduce something new in our environment, he makes sure I'm one of the first guys to touch it, and he tells me what it will pay for me in the long run. So, I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but that's pretty much my story. If you guys want this, it's there for you. You just have to go get it. But you're in the right spot. I promise you're in the right spot. And sometimes it doesn't. When we used to sit down, he's like, man, I used to bug out, and they'll tell you, I would, look, man, hook me up. And they be like, look, it's in time. Seriously, I mean, I don't like this brother can relate because I used to work in that position. It's I was stressed. I was headaches every day. Going to see my doctor, about to go out on stress. The headaches that go all the way down to my backbone. You know what I mean? Down to so I had motivation. So and all I'm saying is it pays off in the end. If you study, concentrate, work hard at it, it pays off in the end. I promise you. So stay motivated, whatever it takes to stay into it. If this is what you like, if this is not what you like, then think about where you are, but stay motivated. This is the field to be in. Because the one thing I will say, that in an economy where it can go up and down with jobs, the one field that pretty much never runs out of jobs is the IT field. And even in certain environments when things start getting shaky financially, the IT people are the last to go. You know what I mean? So I just say stick with it, stay motivated, because it's definitely worth it. So that's all. Like I said, I'll be happy to answer any question you have. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Being a network administrator, do you have time playing with audiovisual kind of stuff with your Cisco?
Do
you
do
anything audiovisual?
Cisco voice?
Just
voice,
well, not yet. We're
Okay.
talking about implementing the voice over IP system, but we don't know if we're going Cisco or not. So technically, no. I mean, I still get to mess with certain devices because we still have a voice over IP system. It's not Cisco, and we still, but they go through our switches. So I have to design them. I have to set them up. I'm constantly redesigning networks, and it was all kind of one of those things where it's thrown on you. Even if you don't have the experience, I have a great boss. Both of my bosses are really good. My boss and his boss are really good about letting you learn and helping you to learn. So they throw you into the fire, but they're there for you to help, and that's how I learn really fast.
Yeah.
So I get to pretty much touch anything. Anything IT related, which is great because you put it on your resume.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes. So, yeah. Anybody else?
He answered. He filled my.
Okay.
We right here. So.
Yeah. I mean, I always whenever I come anytime I would actually, I like to. I actually still want to take some classes. I just have to work out some.
So basically, are you designing networks all the time? Or
Yeah, I
they
have
design
3 of
them
them
and you
on design.
implement them or something?
I have 3 of them right now. Tomorrow I'm staying after work late because I have to go implement a design that I've been working on for the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Right after that I have 2 in Canada that I have to do in a week. And then right after that I have to go to another one in Rockville, and then I have to go to another one in Alexandria. And I'm designing them all right now. And I'm telling you, my work day is full, brother.
Yeah.
Full. And I mean, we have meetings all the time, and it's not. And like I said, they put you in a position, but they help. So I'm not. I love it, honestly.
So basically, is networking out there right now more of cable or just more of wireless now?
It's more, well, I would say, and I think I understand what you're asking. It's more virtual.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's virtual. What the thing is, you're always going to have the infrastructure. You can put virtual has to run on something.
On the backbone.
Right. So the backbone will always be there. The thing is, they're condensing the backbone.
Okay.
So it's best if you go the network route. It's best to kind of learn some of the virtual side too. You guys will probably, if you're going network route, of course you'll run into Andy, and Andy was instrumental in that with me. Like I actually set up an entire environment, server, switches, router, everything, and he walked me through everything, showed me how to do it, and then I had to maintain it. So, but you will. Now, technically, it is broken down to network guys, server guys, but they kind of want you to know both because both of them kind of coincide, especially nowadays. Everything is virtual. And if it's not, it's going to be, so, and I mean, you have to know it. Oh, and security as well. Firewall. I didn't know a thing about a firewall. That was the only thing that I never worked on. But when I got there, they put me in a situation, and I'm just hyped. I don't quit, so I just kept messing with it until I learned it, and now I feel really comfortable with it. I'm the wireless guy. I worked on wireless a little bit, Cisco wireless here, but we have a different type of system. But I'm the wireless guy, so if anything goes wrong with any of the wireless, any of our sites, they call me, and I have to figure it out. So a network guy, you pretty much are broad. I mean, you do a lot. I mean, I guess of course depending on the environment. If you're in a big environment, you may be more, have a tunnel of where you do. But where I am, it's only two of us. So, and we both maintain the network for the entire company. So.
Any other questions? Come on, guys. Ask something.
Besides working at Verizon, did you have any other experience or?
None. The only experience I had, like I said, I took classes, but I tell people all the time, I learned more in 3 months here than I did in UMUC. Simply because it was hands-on here, and it was more. I was more involved with it. Even I say hands-on because you can be hands-on, but not really hands-on. You're not really touching. You know what I mean? But I was more involved. I mean, I was actually, and I would bug. I mean, that was just me. You guys, I would call him and Andy. So we gonna go. We're gonna do this. I was just, but that was me. You know what I mean? But I didn't. To answer your question, like I said, no, I didn't have any experience. Only networking experience I got was at Verizon. I took like electronics in high school. And that was it. I mean, that means nothing because no one, does that anymore. So, all of my networking experience I got at Verizon.
So, as a Verizon employee, did it hold any kind of weight?
So, here's the thing. I will tell you the one, it does, and I'm going to tell you why. Not because in networking, they like Verizon guys because you know the other side. They never seen the other side. We're the other side, the ISP side. Mm-hmm. The one, I guess, big weight that it does hold, I guess, is of your work ethic. They pretty much know that Verizon guys have to work. You know what I mean? Now, with that being said, you and I both know there were guys who would just kick around and not do anything. But
those days are over.
Yeah, exactly. So I put it like this: when I came to my job, my bosses were amazed at what I did. Like they didn't, these guys are spoon fed. I mean, they were never the guys that they never had to work. Like my boss did, but he was at a company where he was the only IT guy. But a lot of other guys, like the kid that works for me, this kid never had to really, he's just been mostly 9 to 5 and things like that. But with me, you tell me work, okay, I got it, I'm here. And they're like, well, that was just, but that was me. That's just my work ethic.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just, until it's done, I want to stay until it's done. When I'm done, then okay, it's time to play. So, but that's, I guess, Verizon, I credit that all to Verizon. They built that in me. I always worked hard. And my parents, but yeah. So, that's what the weight it holds in networking. It holds that much weight because you have an ISP side, so you can put that on there, but it's not going to get you a job. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah, that certification on top of that, yes,
yeah.
You look good. Mm-hmm. But if you go there with Verizon, if you walk in, somebody with they're going to pick the certification. Mm-hmm. The person who's certified all day long.
So speaking on that, how do you feel about people that just want to just study, take the exam, maybe read a book, get the cert, or buy exam questions, take the exam, pass, and then try to get a job? How does that pan out for them when they go to an interview?
Okay, so, and I know why he's asking this question. So we, my boss was just doing some interviews with some guys, and you had some guys who did that, apparently. I wasn't there. My boss would just always come out. He and I are very cool, so he would always come out. And there were guys who were CCNPs, who you can tell did exactly what I was said, and not to sound he fried them. He let them have it in the interview. Like, don't waste my time. That's why I say you can't just show up and expect to, put something on your resume and say, oh, I'm good. You have to actually know this stuff. You have to actually dedicate yourself to learning it. Now, I'm not saying you have to be an expert. You just have to know when they ask you a question, you have to be able to answer. You know what I mean? And the one thing that people don't understand about IT people, IT jobs, all of them use Google. Google is a tool. You might be shy to say, well, I'm gonna have to Google it. That's a tool. You know what I mean? Like Google is the go-to. Because there's so many forums out there, people that run into the problems you run into. You know what I mean? So you just have to know where to get the answers. That's pretty much what they look for. And if you don't know that, or you try to fake, that's why I said they'll bring you in there with the big wigs. And so how's your, how's this? And then they bring the real guys in. And those are the guys you have to get past. And my boss at the time when he interviewed me wasn't my boss. He was just my peer. But he came in and he drilled. I mean, I was only IC&D 1. He drilled me all the way up to CCIE questions. You know what I mean? But he just wanted to see how far, what I knew and how far I would go without lying, without trying to fake like I knew. And I never did that. So you have to go in there with a knowledge of what you're doing. That's why I say don't just, come in here, take the class and, study it, learn it. Try to learn as much as you can. Make it make sense to you. To this day, my boss will give me projects and I'll read them over 5 times. And I'll tell him, you're not going to just tell me some commands and I'm doing it. I need to know what each command means. It has to make sense in my head. The way I approach a project is when I look at it, I have to see the data in my head flow. Where does it hit next? Where does it go here? Okay, if it goes here, what's it? That's just the way I work. And that's the way I approach it. So what I'm saying is you have to know this stuff, learn it, study it, figure it out, whatever it takes, but learn it.
Based on all what you said, like from working every day, 7 days a week, and being stressed about how things were, and coming through all that, and how has this really changed your personal and family life?
Man, brother, I wish I could tell you. I mean, my whole, I always tell people a story when my son, he played football, and I actually used to have a football team. He played for my team, my organization, and I remember he always played defense. He was a real good defensive guy. He told me, he said, Dad, I'm going for a receiver one day. I'm this year. I'm like, no, I don't know, son. I don't think you're ready for that. And he's like, no, Dad, I'm going to do it. So long story short, he went out. The coach let him do it. And I remember the first game of the season, I had to work. I couldn't get off. I wanted to get off, but I had to work. And he was playing receiver. It was my, so I wanted to be there. And I remember sitting on the side of somebody's house. And I'm a grown man. It's hard for me to tell this to other grown men sometimes, but it's the truth. I care about my family. That's just how I am. I was sitting on the side of somebody's house, putting up on tea, stuff like that. And I got a call from my wife. I didn't even want to answer because I knew what she was calling me for. So I picked the phone up and she's like, oh my God, he just scored the winning touchdown. It was a bomb. And I hung up on her and started crying. So what I'm telling you is, I don't have to worry about that anymore. At all. You know what I mean? If I work late, it's pretty much on me. Sometimes my boss is asking me, hey, can you work this Saturday, something like that. We have our maintenance windows, which are once a month, but I have no problem doing it because I know the following weekend I'm off, and the weekend after that I'm off. And if I have to go take my son to the dentist, I just tell my boss I'm taking my son to the dentist. He's like, okay, see you when you get here. When I get up in the morning, if I get there at 8, if I get there at 8:15, if I get there at 8:30, my boss is fine with it because he knows at the end of the day, or maybe in another week, I'm gonna be working 2 or 3 hours late. My life is totally different now, personally. Seriously, like I don't get headaches anymore. I don't even have allergies like that, like I used to. I mean, I'm serious. Y'all don't understand, man. I was stressed out. So that's that. To answer your question, I hope I did. But yeah, my personal life is a lot better.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow that up with something I relate to. You're working every day, 7 days a week. When I came in here, I was just telling my friend how when Albert and I spoke about this whole thing, I came in, I'm totally aware about putting the work in and all that. But just with things going on around me personally, trying to maintain jobs, not just one job but 2 jobs, with $10 to $15 jobs, it's kind of tough having time to really sit down and say, let me do 1 hour of extra work on this. So I know the motivation is there to do it, but when you were really busy and you were in this school, trying to match, coming for classes, trying to pay your bills, plus trying to make study time to really learn this, how did you personally go about doing it? What sacrifices and time?
So what I'll say is this, and I don't know how you'll relate to it, and I don't know how you'll take it, but I was always told when you want something bad enough, you'll make time. Now, I don't know your story, and I can't tell you where your time is, but I had a guy who was in the class with me. He started in the A+. I think he took an A+ and then quit. And the day I left Verizon, he's like, man, I can't believe you're leaving, man. I said, well, I had a plan. I'm sticking to it. I don't know what's going to lead me, but, this is my plan. I'm sticking to it. He said, okay. And I said, well, you know, and I had something to fall on. This was my cushion. You know, I bet the farm on it. I'm gonna walk out on faith and I'm just gonna do it. So we were talking. He said, yeah, but man, you know that stuff. You know all that IT stuff. I said, I didn't know any more than you knew when you came to class. He said, well, yeah, but I don't really have the time. And, you know, I say to you is, at work, if you get a break, at work, you know, it's your job. If you get a break, take 15 minutes. That's 15 minutes you could be studying or reading. You know, when you come home and you're dead tired, take a quick. Now, it was a trick I had. I read in a magazine. Take a 5-hour energy, take a 10-minute nap, and once you wake up, you're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. And it worked for me. You know what I mean? Study for 30 minutes. Set a goal. By the end of this day or this week, I'm gonna have this chapter read, or I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And just try your best to stick to it. The thing is, you have to understand is that whatever you have to do to get there, when you get there, you're going to look back and thank God that you took the time to do it, number one, and realize that it wasn't as bad as you thought, number two. You understand what I'm saying? So all I can say to you, brother, is just find it. There's somewhere, like I tell me and my wife argue about finances all the time. I always tell her, there's somewhere you can stop spending money. You just don't know. You know what I mean? There's somewhere. Trust me. There's somewhere. I mean, right now, I'm tight as a button with my money, but I know there's somewhere I can stop spending it. You know what I mean? So there's somewhere. There's somewhere in there you can find the time. I mean, your family, you go out of town, you know, let your wife or whoever driving you read. I mean, or, you know, anything. I mean, just find the time, man. That's all I say. I know it's tough. I'm not going to say it's easy. I never tell anyone, and every time I come into, I never tell them it's easy because it's not. But when it pays off, it pays off. And that's all I can say. And I'm just at the beginning. I'm not even really, you know, it's not like I'm here sitting here. I'm retired. I'm at the beginning of my career. And right now, I love it. You know, and I'm still studying. I'm dedicating myself to be a student for life. And I just keep on pushing myself to get better. You know what I mean? So, and I'm with you because right now it's still hard for me to study, but I get it in. You know, I picked my son up just now before I came up here, and I was sitting there while he's at practice. I'm reading, you know, 15, 20 minutes, but I'm taking it. You understand what I'm saying? So just find it. Somewhere in there you can do it. Give up that movie time or somewhere in there. Trust me, you can do it. You understand what I'm saying? It's there. You just have to find it. And once you find it, just give it up. It's just a small sacrifice for a bigger gain. That's all I can tell you with that. I hope that helps.
Yeah, it really
You know,
helps.
yeah, that's all I can say with that.
Any other questions?
That's it. I'm running out, so you
There you
gotta
go.
catch me before I go. I'm telling you now.
All right, brother. Thank you, man.
All right, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for coming again, as usual.
Yeah, oh yeah, all right. Yeah, and I call you. I know Andy's probably gonna come up here, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to, but I don't think he's making it. So
Oh, okay.
we'll talk tomorrow.
Thanks.
Okay.
man.
All right.
All right.
Good luck, man.
Thanks, man.
I hope to see you out there one day.
Okay.
So, you got something to eat.